guys, this is Shanta Prabhu. Welcome to my channel. And in this video, I will be talking about a die cutting machine. The one that I have is the Easy Cuts die cutting machine from Dress My Craft. And this is a miniature die cutting machine which uses paper of the size A6. You get bigger die cutting machines also. Little Birdie's Dream Cut cuts paper of the size A5, and the Big Shot is a slightly bigger machine which can be used to cut bigger sheets of paper. And this particular machine is a foldable one. It has these flaps which fold into to make it this compact structure. So if I open up these flaps, this acts as a platform to allow me to take my craft sandwich through the machine. So the way it works is, if you can see, there is a small gap here. So if I pass my craft sandwich through this thing by moving this handle, the paper comes out from the other side by getting cut into the shape of the die that I've used. So to use the die cutting machine, I would need these cutting plates. I have two cutting plates, and I would need cutting dies and paper. So to cut paper, I have to first make a cutting sandwich. For the sandwich, I will be using a plate, and I will be using paper. I have cut this paper into this size, into the size of the cutting plate, because if it's a little bigger than this, then it doesn't go through the machine. So I've got the plate, I've got the paper, and my cutting die. Now this is a floral cutting die. It is a metal die, and it's got a sharp edge on one side. So I have to place it face down so that the sharp edge cuts through the paper when I move it through the cutting machine. So when I place it this way, this is my cutting sandwich. And I am going to place the cutting machine, and I will move it once, twice, back and forth a couple of times until the paper comes out cut into the shape of the die that I've used. So this is my cutting die. It's got stuck to the plate. So this is my cutting die, or the die cut, and this is the paper which has been cut into this particular shape. Now if I want to make the most out of this, what I need to do is place as many dies as possible next to one another and make my cutting sandwich. And I will have to move it through this machine. It's always better to move it twice so that we make sure that the paper has actually got cut. Because if it doesn't get cut in the first go, then we may have a problem overlapping the die along with the paper once again. So I'm going to move this through the machine twice, and I'm going to take it out, and everything would have got cut into the respective shapes. So this is how the cutting is done. Now these particular die cuts that I have, or cutting dies that I have, are concentric shapes. So I can make a layered flower out of this by placing the paper one over the other in layers. So this is how you can work by using this cutting tool or this die cut machine. So there are various cutting dies that you get. They come in different shapes. These are a couple of cutting dies which I have. This is a bicycle. I've got a few stars. This is a cityscape. I've got a couple more flowers. And this is a garden themed cutting die. So it's always best to start off with, it's like whenever you want to cut a paper in a particular shape, it is required that you have the particular die of that shape with you. Just having the machine is not sufficient. The cutting die is very important to make sure that you can cut the paper in whatever shape you want. So when you're collecting cutting dies or having dies for your stash, it is always better to start off with simple shapes like rectangles and circles, stars, and so on. And you can just add on to your stash as in when you find something that's unique. Um, Couple of things to keep in mind when you're cutting. This is a cutting plate, and if you can see, there are a lot of impressions on this. This is because of the cutting die that is used. So what happens is the sharp edge eats into the plate a little, and this is pretty normal. But it's just that you have to keep the die face down onto the paper and make sure you use only one plate for this particular purpose, so that your other plate is always clean and doesn't have any impressions on it. So when you're replacing your plate, you can just replace one and you have the other plate that's clean to use. So these cutting dies add new dimensions to your craft projects. So it is very nice to use different designs in your craft projects, and these cutting dies are compatible with all types of cutting machines, and all machines are compatible with all dies. And this particular set of the machine and the die cutting machine and the cutting dies is suitable for cutting cardstock, felt, fabric, cork sheets, foam, shrink plastic, jute, and more. So the possibilities of using this for your crafting purpose is endless. I've got a couple of other sheets. Now this is a huge sheet. This is not going to go through my cutting machine. So I will have to cut it into, what I'm going to do is I will just cut it into the size of my cutting plate. I'm just using the cutting plate for reference so that it's easier. I've got this cut to the size of my cutting plate, and I'll probably use a star. So I have to place my plate, the paper that it needs to be cut, the die facing downwards. I'm using two because I have enough space to accommodate another die, and another plate over that. And I am going to run this through my die cutting machine. So I'll run it back and forth. This is once, and this is another time. And when I open up my cutting sandwich, I can see that I've got two neatly cut stars. So this is how the cutting machine works. I'll probably use my bicycle die also. What I will do is I'm going to take the plate, place my paper, the bicycle die, and cover the sandwich. After which I will run this through my die cutting machine. I'm going to run this through twice because it's an intricate cutting die, and I do not want to miss out on any edges or have any uncut edges. So it's cut through well. I will have to just pop this out slowly and take out all the excess that is there. So it actually cuts through very well. They've got a nice cycle. And if I need to pop out a few of these minute pieces, I can use a pin. And yeah, so that's how it works. So this is how a die cutting machine works, and it's just that you need to have a huge collection of dies, the corresponding die for the corresponding shape that you want. And this works well when you have a huge bulk crafting purpose. That if you have a bulk crafting purpose, it's always better to go for cutting using these die cutting machines. You also get embossing folders. Embossing folders help to emboss the paper. I have a detailed blog post on uh, all the nuances of die cutting machines, and I'm sharing the link in the description below this video. If you have any queries or any comments, if you like this video, please do let me know in the comment section below. And if you like this video, do like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And I'll meet you in the next process video. Till then, take care and bye bye.